Hello, hi guys, good morning. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday. We decided to do this live thing because we've not answered questions for a while. We've also hit 46,000 people. So we thought that this is a good time to kind of talk about subjects and talk about our work and talk about all the good things that we do. Hello everyone, hello. It's awesome to see so many people already signed in. So we are sitting in the lovely city of Bangalore. That's where our studio is based. It's a nice day. You can hear birds chirping. It's so beautiful today. Also, since the lockdown, we've had bulbuls come into our garden, so it's lovely every morning. Alright, so yesterday we put up some questions about what you guys want to ask. I hope I'm audible. I hope my audio is clear for all you guys. So we put up some questions yesterday about what you want to ask us, and then we'll kind of answer them through a live discussion instead of me typing all day. So we'll probably do this for about an hour, and we'll be answering all your questions. I have them all here typed out so that I can look at them and answer them one by one. If you have any other questions, in case I see it on the feed while you're talking to me, maybe I'll answer those too. But usually I think the questions kind of remain the same. They're almost on the same kind, like what kind of work we do and how we get our inspiration, where is our research. As you can see, we set up our video this time in front of this library. These are all the books that we own on the different scriptures. You can see there's the Upanishads over here, the Vedas are on top. Thank you guys. There's the Adbhut Ramayana here. There's also more on the Bhagavatam and everything. So we'll get straight to questions. I think we're at a good audience size right now. If you can't hear me or something, please let us know. Thank you so much, all you guys, for all the love that you're sharing right now. This is amazing. So let's get started. So someone asked us, I think Snit Seeker asked us, are you guys into animation as well? Yes. So Vanar Sena started off as animation, started off as an animation studio. We wanted to do more animation, but as you know, that animation takes a lot of time. Animation, for each frame that you draw, if you do about 24 frames of drawings, only then do you get 1 second of animation. So it takes a lot of time. Sometimes for even 1-2 seconds of animation, it can take an entire week. So we decided that this is a very slow process. Then we would have all of this time gap between sessions or between posts, which we didn't want to do. So we decided, let's see if we can do a shorter format, which is how we started doing comics. And so far the comics seem to have been quite successful. What do you say? We want to do more animation. We want to definitely do more animation work, but that is happening on the side. So in a month or so, maybe by say June, you should be seeing more animation work on the page, because now even our number of volunteers are increasing, and we will have more animations coming up for all you guys very soon. Yeah. Which program do you use for your animation? Someone has asked. Someone also asked right now why we use Krita over Photoshop. So we use Krita for all our comics and for all our animations. We also use Blender. The reason we use both of them is because they're both open source software, which means that you can just can I volunteer? He says, watch the video, I'll be answering that question soon. So we use Krita and we use Blender because they're both open source, which means that you can just go online, you can download them for free, and you can start using them. There is no license, there is no piracy, there is no cost to the software, there is none of that happening. So you can just start using them. You don't have to pay anyone. So it's very good for students. It's very good for it's very good for people who have a tight budget. Unnecessary costs of your production come down. It's not a good idea to use pirated software as much as we've all used them, because when you become a studio, people will be watching you, and then they'll want to know what software you're using, and they want you to use original software. So using Krita and Blender really brings your cost down, and it is very, very effective. The tools are very good. You can do professional production quality work on Krita and Blender. You can create films and videos that look like what you see on TV and theaters in Blender and Krita. So this is why we use Krita for our animation. Guys, I might not be able to see all the questions that you guys are putting up here, because there's also, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of questions that I have from yesterday that I'm going to try and cover as much as possible. So if I don't get to your question, sorry about that. Let's see. Next question, let's see. So how did we get interested in these stories? Most of the Indian artists generally aren't. So I personally grew up listening to these stories. I first started listening to it from my parents, then I started listening to it from my grandparents and from my relatives. Then someone gifted Amar Chitra Katha to me, so I started reading those. And then my curiosity started really growing in all these stories. So I started figuring out, okay, what kind of stories, like I grew up, I'm almost 40 right now, and I grew up listening to these stories all my life. So I started researching the various kinds of Ramayana, the various kinds of Mahabharata, the various kinds of Puranas, and the more I researched, the more I fell in love with it. I think because of the whole religious angle, a lot of artists are not interested in these stories, because they think it is just blind faith or it is superstition, but it is not. Right? I love these stories because of the amount of wisdom that they provide. Each story tries to teach you something, and that's the best part about these stories. This is like all stories, of course. They always have a moral, they always have some kind of principle beyond it, but these stories have been passed on from like about 5,000, 6,000 years, and they've been the same stories in different versions based on whatever is happening in the country at that time. So it constantly keeps moving forward. And I've read all kinds of versions. I've read Amar Chitra Kathas, I've read Devdutt's books, I've read Amish's books, I've read the original scriptures from Vyas and from Valmiki. I've read variations of all the Mahabharata and Ramayanas, the issues from Gita Press, the issues from whatever I can find on English translators. As much as possible, I've been reading it through my years. I think I've been reading it for as long as I think many of you have been alive. So since this is, I'm thinking this is a fairly young audience. So this is what I'm bringing in terms of Vanarsena Studios is everything that I know, and from my travels, I've talked to pujaris, I've talked to swamis in different places. All of this comes together in what we bring on Vanarsena, and that's the goal, right? Because I love the culture, I love the stories, I love the kind of things that we do in this country, and which is why we keep bringing these stories to you. Of course, like when we say certain things like the last Karna story that we did, many people got upset, but you have to understand that not everything you see on TV is what is actually written in the story. TV is different. TV is made for mass audience. They change the story so that everyone can be happy and no one is offended. But the actual stories have a lot more wisdom in them. The actual stories do not censor a lot of things. There are good actions, bad actions, and all of this is there in the actual stories. So you will probably get offended by some of the stories we put up, but we assure you that it comes from the text, right? and it actually comes from stanzas and stuff. So someone says we have done a research project where they deconstructed our work. I would love to know more about that. I would love to hear what you've deconstructed and what you've learned, and maybe we'll also learn something from it. It's amazing. It's great that you're doing this kind of work, that we are encouraging this kind of work. For us, the biggest win is when someone tells us, "Oh, I don't remember this story. This is not what I've heard. Where is it?" And when you do research, is the biggest win for us, because that's what we want you to do. We want everyone to go read the original stories, right? So that's that. We move on to the next question. Someone says, I would like to know about Manu, which book to read. So Manu is mentioned in many Puranas as a general character that starts the Manavas. He is the son of Surya, and Aditi. So he's just the one who starts the Manavas. But if you really want to understand the thought process of Manu and why Manu is so important, I would suggest reading the Manusmriti. That noise in the background, by the way, are birds. That's not noise. Those are all birds busy doing their own Insta live video right now. So that's all the noise in the background. So for Manu, I would suggest that the best source would be to read the Manusmriti to really understand why Manu was so important. So that also kind of gives you a definition of Divya. Thanks, Divya. So it's also kind of gives you a definition of what is happening in that time period in the culture, what the thought process was, how people were treated, what were the rules. The Manusmriti is a good explanation of that, of a certain time, not the older time or the newer time, but of a certain time the Manusmriti was very, very important. Divya. So next question, is Vanasena Studios a part-time for admins? No, Vanasena Studio is not part-time. So Vanasena has been around for about 2 years now. About 2.5 years when Vanasena Studio started. I left my job, I left whatever work I had in the industry, and I started Vanasena Studios just to tell Indian stories, just to tell Indian stories based on our culture and all of this stuff, right? So the whole idea of Vanasena Studios was to promote our culture through animation, through art, and to talk about what is actually there, not that everyone's wearing gold and everyone's doing this. That is not the idea. The idea was that there is a lot more to our culture than what is actually spoken about. So Vanasena Studios is definitely not part-time. We do this full day. Like even the volunteers are involved in it full day. We're working from morning to evening every weekday to kind of bring Vanasena Studios work, animation and stories to you. So yeah, this is definitely not a part-time thing. If you ever DM me, you will notice that I reply to the DM like that. So it's something that we do almost full-time with our work. The reason that it started for us, the reason we started Vanasena was because no one's doing this, right? No one's doing good animation work. No one's talking about the actual stories. No one's bringing it out to a younger audience. Either you're talking to 5-year-olds with Amar Chitrakatha, or you're talking to really old people with all the scriptures, but no one's kind of bridging the gap in between. Even Devdutt is only a good start. Devdutt Patnaik's books are a good start, but they also don't talk about everything. There is a lot of changes and modifications in Devdutt's versions. So Devdutt is also a version, Amish is also a version, and we are also like a version. So it's not there. We sometimes bring you the authentic stories and we tell you this is the authentic story. We also give you snapshots. Otherwise, we just tell you this is a version, right? Which is why I think more and more people need to do this, and not just the religious aspect of it, but also just the fact that they're good stories and they're amazing stories to really listen to and talk about and discuss, and they're always relevant. Like if you look at the Mahabharata, it was written maybe 5,000-6,000 years ago, but it is relevant even today. There is Mahabharata happening in every family, there is Mahabharata happening in every country. It is very, very relevant even today, right? So which is why these stories are amazing. Someone long ago wrote about life in a way that it applies to you even today. All the situations, all the emotions, all the interactions. They might be in different clothes, they might be talking a different language, but all of it still applies to us even today, which is why the stories are amazing. So, and which is why we wanted to bring these stories to you in a new animated form, especially because animation is not very strong in India. So we wanted to kind of also push that up. So that was the whole goal of starting Manasena, and it is definitely a full-time work. So let's see what are the questions. Any plans of starting episodes in TV channels? For sure, we are planning to, but like I said, animation takes way too much time. So we have to figure out how to do it faster once the team gets bigger and all of that. And thank you all for all the love that you've been giving. I'm trying to talk, so I've not spoken this fast in a very long time. Do you guys receive any kind of threats from people for redesigning girls? Of course we do. We definitely receive threats. I think every 2 weeks there is some threat from someone else, but I've gotten so used to it that it's become as good as everything else. All kinds of comments. Like my first Ram redesign was somewhere in 2008. My first Hanuman redesign was in 2003, and I've been receiving threats since then. So people always have a problem with redesigning art. People always have a problem with a story that does not agree with their sensibilities. Now you must have heard a story that XYZ did something. I will tell you that a story written in these books behind me is XYZ did something else. Now just because it doesn't agree with you, you will get offended, and then you will threaten, and there are people who've threatened life, there are 3 people who've threatened FIRs, there are all kinds of threats that come. But we understand where that comes from, so we never report anyone, because we understand that comes from a place of ignorance, that comes from a place of lack of research. What we tell every person who threatens us is, please go read, we'll tell you where this is, please go find out more, and when you find out more, you'll only automatically stop threatening. So the whole goal is to kind of educate more and more people. We know that the threat does not come from personal hate, because they don't know me, I don't know them. The threat comes from a place of ignorance, and we try to fix that by telling them where they can go look for more information. Of course, even then, if they decide not to look for information, then that's up to them. And these threats will continue, I think, for as long as Manasena is alive. But that's okay. That's part of this process. If you touch this subject, I think you have to be ready for it. So, and we've been ready for it for years. I've been getting these threats for, I think, over a decade at this point. So that's perfectly fine. Like every time, if you notice, even on the comments, we reply once. We don't reply and explain on comments because it can just blow out of proportion. If there is a good question, we'll reply on the comments once, but not someone who wants to sit and argue on the comment section without reading any stories. We encourage people to read, and once you show us that this is, hey, look at this, this is where it is written and this is how it's written, this page, then we're like, okay, we'll change our stance on it, right? But until then, there's no reason to change our stance. So interesting question here. Someone, Snit Seeker, asked us, what could be the role of a software developer in an animation industry? Actually, a software developer plays a very important role. Everything we use is software, right? So if you're doing 2D animation, you're using software. If you're doing 3D animation, you're doing software. Yes, Divya, we will tell. So I will get to that. There is a question there. We will tell people who I am also. So quickly this question. So software developer plays a huge role in changing how well a tool can be used. So let's say a tool gets me from this level to this level. A software developer in the team in-house can take the tool from this level to this level, right? You can really make life easy for the artists. You can really fix a lot of bugs in the system. Now every studio, I've personally worked in DreamWorks and Rhythm and Hues, and we always have a software person on the team. So one person who's constantly writing code to improve the software. So they also, like, every time you have a software developer, like DreamWorks, Pixar, all these big studios have their own tools. They are not even market tools that allow for a software developer to come in and start developing tools. They have their own R&D, they have their own pipeline department. So the software developer's role is a very, very important role in an animation studio. Yeah. Okay, coming back to, let's do that question since a lot of people are asking. My name is Vivek Ram. I am currently the Senapati of Vanar Sena Studios. Because we decided to have Vanar Sena Studios that talks about Indian culture, we decided that we will not use words like CEO and founder and all these words. Everything we do will be Indian. So our volunteers have picked names like Vanar and Bandar and Cheel and Bhalu. Even if you go to our Patreon page where you can support us, we've kept categories as Vanar, Bandar and Balu. And I am the Senapati right now. The whole goal being that at some point in the future, someone else from the team can become the Senapati of Vanar Sena Studios. And we are a group and a collective that decides to do this as a mission. My background a little bit, I've been in the animation industry for about 20 years. If you Google my name, you will find a lot about me. I've been working with Rhythm and Hue Studios, which did the visual effects for Incredible Hulk, Life of Pi, Golden Compass, all of that. Then I worked with DreamWorks Animation, you must have heard of them. I've worked on films like Madagascar 3, Penguins of Madagascar. So I've had the opportunity and I've been very lucky to work with some of the best studios in the world, some of the most top-notch work in the world. And after all that, I realized no one's doing Indian stories, which is why I quit all that work and I decided to start Vanar Sena, right? So if you want to Google my name is Vivek Ram again. You can find out a lot more. Plus on our YouTube page, if you've not gone to our YouTube page, we have a YouTube channel called Vanar Sena Studios on YouTube, where you can hear about why we started Vanar Sena and what was the goal behind it and all of that. There's a whole video on this that where I'm speaking. So I hope that is good. Our volunteers right now, we don't introduce our volunteers for a very specific reason. I have been dealing with hate for easily 15 years now. So I can deal with it. I'm very used to it. Our volunteers are very young and our volunteers are in their 20s and 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds. They're not ready to deal, and they've always done work that is not so out there in terms of Indian content, and they're not ready for a lot of the hate that comes through. So I personally, I feel like it is my responsibility to protect the volunteers from, someone going to their account and then abusing them there. I really don't want that happening, which is why we've been kind of protecting our volunteers. Of course, now they're getting used to seeing some of the hate on the page, and over a period of time, then we can introduce them. But initially, I know that it can be very, very difficult for people to hear all those kinds of things from random people on the internet, which is why we don't introduce our volunteers yet. But right now, we do have about 6 volunteers. Some of them are training, some of them are contributing. The comics have now become a completely combined effort where all the volunteers jump in and do a little piece of the comic. So it's not one person's work anymore. And so that's a little bit about the volunteers. Let me see what other questions. Are you planning to print comic books for telling mythological stories? We are talking to some publishers. Let's see what happens. I've written to at least 5 publishers to see if we can print those comics. If any of them gets back on it, then we will definitely print the comics. So you will see them. We will keep announcing them as we talk about, like, as we kind of continue with this. Whenever we see that the comics are going to be printed, we will definitely tell you guys about it. Yeah. Can art and animation in India become as they are in Japan? Hopefully, yes. Art and animation can definitely be like they can be in Japan. But Japan, you have to understand, took many years, right? Japan had to build this audience. We've not even started. Today, if you look, India does not have a single piece of adult animation. India does not have any animation that is for anyone above 10 years age, right? So, for us to get to Japan's level is many years from now. We have to at least start. So, we are hoping to start. We have pitched a few series and some episodes, and if we do get greenlit, and I see some other studios also trying right now, and if any of us gets greenlit, then we will definitely start a wave. But for India to become like Japanese animation will take many years from now, because they've taken almost 40 years to be where they are right now. So you have to understand that it will take a long time. Right? Someone's asked us, what is your revenue? How are you surviving without any major studios commissioning you? So that has been a very big question, which is why for the longest time Vanasena was only me. Vanasena was not a whole bunch of people. It was just me kind of putting out work, because money has always been the concern. Most people don't want to put their money into risky content, right? If you've seen the number of hate also that we get, this is very risky content, and they think that this is too religious and this has been done. We're already seeing Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana and B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata. So they don't want to try this kind of a risk with animation until they see some results. So we've had some trouble finding the right people to support us, but we've decided we are going to do it anyway, right? And which is where we would love your support, because we now have a Patreon page where if you want to support us, you can support us. But how we've been dealing with the finances, all of us do a little freelance on the side, all of us make some money, and then we've spent all our time in Vanasena Studios so that we can tell these stories more and more. So the primary focus is always Vanasena Studios, and we try to do some work on the side to get enough money to pay rent, to buy food, to do all of those things. So right now Vanasena is not funded at all. And if people support us, then of course we will make some money. Hopefully we will get onto YouTube and make some money there also. But for now, it is not easy, but we've been managing for 2 years so far. So I'm sure we will keep managing for longer. Yeah. So we answered some of these questions. Okay, so what is our source material? Someone's asking, what is the research and source material that we use? All of this, right? All of this is our source material. If you look at this is the Skanda Puran right here. Of course, it's inverted on the mirror. This is Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani. So it's also philosophy. Let me see what else. This is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So that's there. Let's see. This is one volume of the Rig Veda. And there are 4 such volumes. Similarly, there is Mahabharata. There's Mahabharata here. That's again one book out of 10. So this is where our research comes from. We are not Googling. We are not randomly going on Google looking for a story and saying, oh wow, this is the story. No, we are actually researching. There's Bhagavatam here, there is Kanda Puran, there is Matsya Puran. We have all the books sitting here from different publishers. I have Valmiki Ramayana from 4 different publishers, and we compare them and compare the notes and make sure the translation is correct, because it is Sanskrit to English and sometimes words keep changing. So this is where all our research comes from. We are definitely not randomly Googling. So you can see what that comes across. So all the stories we put out are very, very deeply researched, right? It is not just random things that we hear from people. And my views on Amar Chitra Katha, I think Amar Chitra Katha is great. We also have Amar Chitra Katha somewhere here, right? Amar Chitra Katha is great for kids, but I want you guys to understand that Amar Chitra Katha is not authentic stories. Amar Chitra Katha is purely for children. It is modified for children. right? So certain things like violence of a certain kind, or violence against women, or showing someone in a bad light, all that is deleted from Amar Chitrakatha. So Amar Chitrakatha is only for to tell pretty stories to children. So Amar Chitrakatha is great if you want to start, but don't stop there. If you stop there, you will think that everything else that everyone else is doing is wrong. You have to move from Amar Chitrakatha, right? Similarly, like someone's asking, this is a good time to answer it. What is the difference between Valmiki's version and Tulsi Das's version? Valmiki's version is not devotional. Tulsi Das's version is very devotional. Valmiki was looking to talk about a perfect man in existence. That is what he asks Narad, saying, who was a perfect man? Whereas Tulsidas is talking about God. So that is one of the biggest difference between Valmiki's work and Tulsidas's work, where Valmiki treats Ram like a man. Valmiki treats Ram like a regular man who's going through sadness, who's going through happiness, who's going through pain, who's going through suffering, who's going through good times. But Tulsidas treats Ram as God all the time. So sadness is also not there. Happiness is also, everything is just bliss in Tulsidas's Ramayana. So it's a very different retelling of the same story. So, and the current Ramanand Sagar series that you're seeing online is entirely Tulsi Ramayana. It is not Valmiki Ramayana, right? Even in the start, if you notice, when they start the show, they say Ramcharitmanas, which is Tulsi Ramayana, which is not Valmiki Ramayana. So don't watch the TV show and then think that is Valmiki Ramayana. It's not. Right? Like things like the Lakshman Rekha concept and all that is not in the Valmiki Ramayana at all. Valmiki Ramayana actually ends with the Yuddhakand. Even the Uttarakhand is an extra addition to the Valmiki Ramayana. So all these versions, Amar Chitrakatha, Valmiki Ramayana, Tulsi Ramayana, if you will have to study them. You can't just look at one and say, okay, this is the story, right? Like that, there is the Kamba Ramayana, there is the Eritarjan Ramayana, there is Adhyatma Ramayana, there is Adbhuta Ramayana. There are so many. So you can just, the list can go on, right? And you have to study all of them together to understand what the essence of the story is. What is the wisdom behind those stories? Like the Adbhuta Ramayana, for example, is attributed to Valmiki, but it is not part of the Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana is separate, Adbhuta Ramayana is separate, right? But the Adbhuta Ramayana is attributed to Valmiki. They say that Valmiki wrote the Adbhuta Ramayana, and the Adbhuta Ramayana throws a very different light on Ram and Sita. Yeah, like more than half of the Adbhuta Ramayana is just Ram praising Sita. So it's a very interesting book. Let me see. Does Ramayana include Sahasra Raman? So yeah, that's exactly what we just said. Adbhuta Ramayana is very different, and Sahasra Raman is mentioned in the Adbhuta Ramayana. Sahasra Raman is not mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana. Yeah. When we do the stories, we try to find either we do one story, like for example, next week's story. Next week's story, we're not going to tell you which one it is, but next week's story is from a very specific version. The popular version of that story, which you all must have heard, is very different from that very specific version. And we are going to do only that very specific version, right? We're going to do that story from the version of the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Puran. Whereas what you must have heard of that same story is very, very different. So, we decide either we do a compilation of stories and figure out, okay, this is probably what the story could have been, or we tell you exactly, okay, this story is from this version of the scripture. So it could be from Mahabharata, could be from Bhagavad Puran, could be from Matsya Puran. So you'll notice in the comments that we mention this very clearly, right? Let's see. Easiest book for Mahabharata for children, that would be the Amar Chitrakatha. Best to start with. For children, that's amazing. It keeps it clean. But always remember never to stop there. You have to go forward. Right? You can get all of these books. Nowadays, you can get all of these books on Amazon. If you can't, there is this publisher called Chaukamba in Varanasi, which also gives you these books. There is also Gita Press where you can get all these books. So there are multiple places where you can get these books from. Let's see. More questions. Any plans on going 3D? Yes, we definitely want to go into 3D, but not right now. I've been doing 3D for I think 18 out of my 20 years in the industry. So this is a little break that we've taken from 3D, and we started doing 2D because we want to kind of work on 2D is more of an art form, and 2D is not being done lately, so which is why we want to do more 2D. But we'll definitely do 3D once the 2D team gets strong. Then we'll definitely do 2D. In terms of internships, a lot of people have asked us about this question, and even I see that question popping up quite often. We do provide internships, but there is a test involved, and we look at your portfolio and we make sure that you can already handle a certain amount of work. Basic drawing doesn't help, but we definitely see if you can handle more than just basics. And if you're interested and if you think you can handle more than just basic drawing, then we would ask you to write to us, email us at vanarsenastudios@gmail.com, and you will be able to, we'll take a look at it and then we'll talk to you and we'll see if you can become one of the interns. But we definitely do take in interns, right? Okay, so let's move on to some more questions that I still have here. What kind of, someone says, why are you not famous? I think we have 46,000 followers, so I think that's good fame for now. Hopefully we'll get more famous, but right now we're happy with where we are. Someone says, is it always the story of good versus evil in our mythology? No, it's not. Actually, it's not at all about good versus evil. Good versus evil is a very, very Western concept. So good versus evil, one sec, let me just keep an eye on the time while we're at it. Yeah. So good versus evil is a very Western concept. There is good and there is evil. The Indian stories do not work like that. The Indian stories do not work on good versus evil. The Indian stories work on cause and effect. Something you do and that has an effect. So you have a good action that can have an effect, and that doesn't necessarily have a good effect. Good action does not have good effect. That is not the Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy is whatever you do, there is an effect. It is like a ripple. So you drop something in the water and it will have its own ripple across time and space, and then that ripple comes back to you, right? So the Indian stories talk about even if you do something good or you do something bad, that will have an equivalent ripple that goes out and then comes back. That is the idea of karma and dharma, right? So the Indian stories do not talk about good and bad. Dharma is not fixed. Dharma is about what would be civilized behavior and what is not jungle behavior but civilized behavior. That is the pure concept of dharma. Whereas karma is that whatever you do, this will come back to you, right? No matter good, bad, ugly, whatever you do. So the Indians do not talk about good versus bad, good versus evil, which is why nowadays we say that Ravan was evil and Ravan was this, but Valmiki did not talk about it like that. Valmiki spoke about it as Ram did something, Ravan did something. Ravan did something, he got his result. Right? So it's very clearly about cause and effect in the Indian system. It is never about good and bad. This is interesting. Someone says, is there an influence from Samurai Jack in your work? Of course. Yes. I love the show. I love anime. I love Japanese anime. So there is definitely an influence of all these shows in our animation. So coming back to good and bad, someone says, why is Asura taken as evil? Asura is not evil because not all of them, some of the devas are also Asura born, right? So Bali is an Asura king, but he was not bad. Bali was actually good. People have festivals about Bali in the country. Their Asuras are depicted as evil. So what happened is that we had scriptures in Sanskrit, scriptures in Hindi, scriptures in Avdi, scriptures in Tamil, all these different scriptures, and then the British came in to try and translate everything. Now the British only understand good and evil. The British only understand from Roman mythology and Greek mythology, they understand gods and demons. So they looked at all the texts that we have and said, okay, this is also gods and demons. And so they decided then gods should be devas, demons should be asuras. And that's how this whole thing got split up. But that is definitely not the case. Like asuras, rakshasas, yakshas could very well be different tribes and different kinds of cultures within the land, including devas. So the very idea of Deva being god and Asura being demon is just weak English translation, nothing else, right? If you actually read the stories, they're all interchanging. Devas and Asuras are cousins, so there is no way for them to be in different sides, right? So they're all different teams, different parties, constantly in conflict, different tribes, different cultures in conflict. Like how we have India Pakistan today, or we have India America today, or we have India China today. These are all different cultures, different kinds of people, different kinds of thought process. Not people are the same, but different kinds of thought processes, which is what define them as Deva, Asura, Rakshasa, Yaksha, and all so on and so forth. This is not gods and demons or good and bad, right? And when you understand this, you will look at the stories in a whole new light. So, so someone says, does that mean British ruined our mythology? No. British did not ruin our mythology, because we are all speaking in English, you're all typing in English. So the British made it more accessible, but also they did what Amar Chitra Katha did. They kind of changed it in their own way. So it's you can't blame anyone for anything. You can only blame yourself for not knowing more. So the goal is, I would suggest that all of you go and read more, so you will also have your own opinions and you won't blame anyone for anything, right? Nobody ruined it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. If the British didn't translate these for us, I wouldn't be sitting and reading these all these books, right? So yeah, I would not look at it as British ruined or Mughals ruined, or nobody ruined it. Everyone contributed in their own way. It is up to us to kind of dig through everything and contribute and understand, because even the Indians changed it in many ways. From Valmiki's Ramayana, Kamba wrote a new version, then Irtachan wrote a new version, then someone else, Kritivasa, wrote a new version, then Tulsi wrote a new version. None of these people are British, so they are also writing new versions. So similarly, the British also wrote whatever they best understood, and even you have even a Muslim Ramayana called the Mapala Ramayana. So they also wrote their own kind of versions, right? So there are so many different ways of doing this. The best way for you would be to combine all of them, read through the different things and understand what was the story about. Also, guys, I'm not used to talking for so long, so my throat is starting to get a little dry. It's a controversial question. I'm going to skip that for later. So, is reading someone's interpretation a good idea? Yes, of course. Hi, Milind Singh, K. Milind Singh. Yes, thank you so much. Reading different interpretations is definitely a good idea, because there is, after 6,000, 7,000 years, it's very difficult to say this was the original. Even the original is somebody's version of the original. So the more versions and interpretations you read, it's definitely a good idea. It gives you an understanding, a wholesome understanding. It's like you have 10 people in a family, and then those 10 people, one person said something. Now, over a period of time, those 9 people have their own version of what that one person said. Then all those 10 people died, and then you have the next generation, and then the next generation. So after you come down to a few generations, you don't know what that first person said anymore. Even those 10 people who are in that room don't know what that first person said anymore. But if you listen to everyone's version, you can understand what could have been the first person's version. Like, that's the best way to explain this, right? You can try and understand what really happened in that scenario, but 7,000 years later, you can't say this was the original version. It's impossible at this point, right? It's just about, okay, this is the best I have. Someone thankfully recorded it as a critical edition, and now I can kind of read it. But you cannot say this is exactly what happened, because nobody knows. Even that book doesn't know, right? So you have to kind of use your own intelligence and your own intellect to understand, okay, I read this version, then this version, then this version. What could have possibly happened within this space? Like, I definitely think the Ramayana happened. How it happened, I don't know. Like, I don't know the exact nature of how it happened. But I definitely think for a story to be passed on for 7,000 years in one kind of thread, like, the thought process is very similar. this definitely, and everyone talks about it like it happened, which means yes, then there is a very good chance that it happened. Maybe it didn't happen to the scale that we read it right now. Maybe certain events didn't happen, but it definitely, I feel, happened, and because it was considered itihasa. If I can take the Western idea of history as fact, then why can't I take the Indian idea of itihasa as fact, right? But did it happen exactly how it's written right now? No, I don't think so. Right? That is where I think the difference is. It definitely did not happen the way it is written right now or the way it is spoken about right now. But I definitely feel it happened, and the more books I read, the more I will get an understanding ki shayad I think I know what must have happened. Right? Dogs are all inside right now, guys, so I don't think I'll be able to show them to you. They've been all kept inside because of this live session. They'll otherwise topple everything and the phone will go flying and all of that. Let's see if I can pick up some more questions before we completely run out of time. I think we have 10 more minutes. Suggest some books for beginners to understand animation, ancient Indian stories. For animation, you need one book. You need actually two books. Let's say two books. You need Illusion of Life, and you need the Animator Survival Kit. If you have these books, you can definitely learn animation. Explain short what purpose Blender is used. Blender is used for animation. So we use Blender for animation, for editing, for all kinds of things in Vanarasena Studios. Where to start with ancient Indian stories? You can start with Amar Chitra Katha, you can start with Devdutt Patnaik. But you should understand that both Devdutt Patnaik and Amar Chitra Katha are versions, and don't take them as this is exactly what happened. It is just an introduction. Like if someone tells you Vanarasena Studios does comics, but Vanarasena Studios also does animation, and Vanarasena Studios started 2 years ago starting with animation, but they only tell you Vanarasena Studios does comics. That's half information, right? Devdutt Patnaik and Amar Chitra Katha are like that. It's half information. So you can start there, but always explore more so that you can find out a lot more about the culture and the stories and everything. Okay, so I think I covered some of these. Also, so in terms of variations, we also do our own variations and interpretations. If you look at our YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/Vanarasena Studios, you will see that the story of Durga that we did is our own interpretation. It's not from the scriptures. So, which is also similar to what Tulsi did and similar to what Kamba did. You can also do your own interpretation, but then you have to be very clear. This is your own interpretation, like what Amish did. So the Durga's video on Vanarasena Studios is definitely our own interpretation, and we're doing some more videos like that. With doing our own interpretations coming up in the future. Are you planning a full-length movie? Yes, when we make money, because a full-length movie requires. Let me give you an example, right? Lion King, Disney's Lion King, was around 400 people working on that film for 4 years. That's the kind of number that it takes to make an animation full-length movie of very high quality. So, are we making a full-length movie? Hopefully, yes, one day. But we don't know when. Like when the Sena becomes big enough, we'll definitely make a full-length movie. 2-3 people is very difficult to make a full-length movie, but we'll try. Yeah. Let's see. I think I finished most of these. Let's see, guys. So, what kind of art inspired us? That's another question that's come up. What kind of art inspired us on this journey? We are definitely inspired by a lot of Japanese anime, a lot of Disney, actually all kinds of animation. Yes, we'll definitely try putting this on YouTube. I have to figure out how to save this video once this ends. Then we'll put it on YouTube. So yeah, so Japanese anime, Disney is our main animation inspirations. In terms of art, I'm very inspired by Michelangelo, who did the David, and I'm like, so I love figurative art. I love focused artwork where you really study the figure, you study the form. So that's mostly where our inspirations come from. So our animation style, I would say, is a hybrid between anime and Disney, because anime does not do too much acting but does a lot of action. Disney does not do a lot of action but does a lot of acting. So for us, we are still trying to find a middle ground between doing a lot of acting and a lot of action at the same time. Hopefully we will get there, but that's mostly our goal. So someone's asking us, how do you make sure your interpretation does not deviate from original ethos or philosophy? So that's the whole goal. If you had said does not move from the original story, I would have said it has already moved from the original story. But original philosophy, we try to maintain that by reading the number of interpretations. So that's where I keep suggesting that you read as many interpretations and versions that you can, so that you understand the philosophy of that story to your best knowledge. Of course, everyone will have their own idea about it, but to your best knowledge, you understand the philosophy of it. So once you understand the philosophy of it, then you can really push forward that philosophy in your new retelling. And that's what we try to do by looking at the multiple versions. One version will not tell you that philosophy for sure, right? It's guaranteed that one version will not tell you the philosophy. So you try to look at multiple versions and understand, okay, this was probably what the philosophy of the story is, and we try to push that forward in our stories, right? Like the whole goal with our stories, even with when we did the Karna story, is to make you guys think. So that you can think about the story, think about, oh shit, maybe this is not the story I heard, but then is this the story? Let me research, let me find out. And then automatically you will fall in love with the Indian culture even more because of the complexity. It's not so simple. It's not just, oh, this is God, he did the right thing. Indian culture is not that simple, right? The Indian culture is very complex, very, very detailed, very deep, where everyone can do something right or wrong according to your sensibility, right? Okay, what can I do? Someone's asking, क्या आपने भगवान के सुपर हीरो वर्जन बनाया है या बनाओगे? I don't think it's necessary, because our characters are already so superb. They're already capable of so much possible. Like, how can you make a superhero out of someone like Hanuman or someone like Garud? They're already so amazing. They can already do so much. Then why would you want to, make it even more like a superhero? I don't see the point in that. So definitely, we have no plans of making them superheroes. We definitely want to tell more stories, and we might even start telling fictional stories using these characters, right? Do you think your works on Indian Puranas can go internationally? We definitely think so. So I recently went to Miami to talk about our work, and they really liked the Durga story, right? They didn't care whether it was Indian or whether it was not, or whether it was from some character that they didn't understand. They just liked how the story was told. They liked what the possibilities of the story was. They liked the philosophy of the story. So I definitely think our Indian stories can go international. It's just about how we tell them, right? It's about how we kind of portray them and what kind of messaging that we are putting forward with these stories. You have to remember that Valmiki wrote the story for a certain messaging for the people of that time. Tulsi wrote a story for a certain messaging for the people of that time. So the messaging is more important than the story. What you want to tell the people is far more important than the story. So each of the authors that changed the story changed it with a very clear messaging in mind, that they wanted to tell this kind of story, right? So even when we do it now, that is the whole reason someone asked us, how do you do this with a modern retelling? Because we are in a time where this has to be retold, right? So we definitely want to talk about other characters and other stories, and but in the current context. I cannot tell you how life was 5,000 years ago. I definitely want to tell you, with these stories, how can we live today? And that's the whole point of what we do, right? Is to bring it to a current context. They're all very relevant. Everyone has family disputes. That is the Mahabharata. Everyone has loss of love and someone coming in conflict. That is the Ramayana. right? You can these stories are still very relevant today, but it's all about just telling them in a more modern context, right? We'll definitely do a session on art. We're also, so some people are asking us how to train and how to work. We're hoping to do some videos on YouTube. So follow us on YouTube. Go subscribe to our page, Vanasena Studios at youtube.com, right? And sorry guys. So follow us on YouTube, and we will definitely do some sessions there. I think the live session is going to end. It's 1 hour now. So as a parting note, I would say follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, follow us to see what we do there. Keep reading as much as you can. Keep following us, research on the stories, keep sharing our work to a lot of people. And the more people you share it with, the better it is for all of us. Support us on Patreon. Whatever little support you can give us is great. It definitely helps us keep the work going. And I think that's it. I think we should end this session today. That's a lot of stories. It's a lot of talking. Thank you all for writing in. Thank you all for sending us these questions. Thank you all for watching. It's been such a good morning, beginning to the morning for all of us. As you can see, the birds have quietened down. Maybe I've spoken too much. And we will try and do this often. Let me figure out a plan. Maybe we'll try and do this once a week. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good weekend and have a good week. See you soon.